When we talk about operational business analysis, this is where we're getting down to the nitty-gritty details. Operational business analysis develops what the IIBA likes to call solution requirements. Solution requirements are those functional and non-functional dimensions to the application that you need to have in order for the application to be complete. The end result out of operational business analysis, if you are following the acceptance test-driven development approach, are going to be test scenarios, probably expressed in the Gherkin language of given, when, then, so that when you give it to the developers and they run their tests, these tests can then easily be automated. As far as the functional dimension of solution requirements, this is anything that the application or people using the application have to do or know, whereas the non-functional dimension has to do with any factors that influence how they do that or how well they need to know it. Things like laws and regulations, things like access time, these are all in the non-functional domain. And unfortunately, in the world of IT, functional requirements are really simple to implement. It's the non-functional domain that more often than not causes projects heartburn. We'd want to spend some time making sure that we've gotten all of the functional and the non-functional requirements defined in some form in order for the project to ensure that it is complete. Every functional and non-functional requirement needs to be tested. So what kind of tools do we use in operational business analysis? Data flow diagrams and process maps are very common at this level. You're trying to get down to a low level of detail. Now, back in the 80s, when data flow diagrams were invented, we used to have these data flow diagrams of the entire project, showing the workflow for the entire organization and things like that. For agile projects, there's no time for that, and it is overkill. But data flow diagram fragments are a phenomenal tool for coming up with a picture of what processes create what data, where that data goes to, how that data gets there, and what other processes are using that data. If you do data flow diagrams, a fragment at that level of detail, you actually have a phenomenal tool for identifying bottlenecks and figuring out other problems that might arise if you implement the application according to your current design. Activity diagrams and all of the UML cousins, in the UML2 there are about 17 different diagramming types that software developers might want to use in order to come up with the correct software solution. Activity diagrams, use case diagrams are two of the very common ones. Swim lane diagrams, by the way, is another that are very useful for the business analyst, meaning you do not have to have a technical background in order to understand them. At this level, if you are using use cases at the detail level, the use case descriptions and the diagrams, actually the use case descriptions will lead you directly to tests. If you have the time to create a use case of a user story or a requirement statement, a stakeholder requirement, you can actually use that use case description step for step to identify all of the acceptance tests that you need in order to prove whether or not the application does what it's designed to do. What I'd mentioned earlier, the decision tables and trees that were available at the tactical level, again, they are very useful at the solution level. Obviously, now they're down at a lower level of detail, where each column in the decision table will lead you directly to a test scenario or a test case even for acceptance test-driven development. You can use matrices or spreadsheets at this level of detail. They're very great tools for communicating because they force people's attention to focus on certain elements of the problem or of the requirement that you're trying to deal with. And, as I mentioned at the tactical level, a further decomposition of the requirements, features, user stories is very often used at the operational level. So it's a great technique if you are able to take a business requirement to decompose it down into user stories, which are stakeholder requirements, take the stakeholder requirements and decompose them to the functional and non-functional level. You have a great tool for communicating exactly what the application should and should not do. Because you're talking at this point of ETDD and BDD, test scenarios and test case development are also a major part of the operational business analysis. So who all is involved with business analysis at the operational level? Well, at this level, your drivers are going to be your product managers, your product owners, or project managers, project owners. And the ones that are going to be doing the grunt work or doing the real work are the business analysts at all levels of title, junior business analyst, senior business analyst, business analyst. Also, especially in an agile environment, the developers themselves are going to be doing a lot of the operational business analysis. Actually, the default is kind of, if nobody else does it, the developers have to, because they need to get down to the functional and non-functional level in order to be able to write the application, in order to be able to do their jobs. Obviously, if you're in an agile environment, the agile team members are going to be doing a lot of the operational business analysis themselves.